Brother's been in a coma for 2 years, and I just found out he heard every single word we said about pulling the plug. It started the day the doctor said Chris was technically awake, but nobody was home. Minimally conscious state, they called it, which sounds like hope until you realize it means your brother is trapped between dead and alive. My mother lasted 4 months before she started calling him the body when she thought I couldn't hear. My father made it 6 months before suggesting we donate his organs while they were still viable. My sister visited but spent the whole time on her phone because she thought looking at Chris felt like looking at a corpse. I had to tune out their reactions because agreeing with them meant accepting our twin telepathy was just childhood nonsense. The same telepathy that made me clutch my jaw the exact second Chris got his wisdom teeth pulled across town. I visited every afternoon at 3 o'clock, the time we used to walk home from school together. I'd hold his limp hand and tap Morse code into his palm, asking, "Are you there?" until my fingers cramped. We learned Morse code in summer camp when we were 8, and it had been our silent mode of communication ever since. I sat through 2 years of one-sided conversations while Chris stared through me like furniture because I still hoped that he'd tap me back. I told him everything because the silence would have killed me otherwise. How his girlfriend Maria started dating his friend Josh, even though Josh threw up tequila in Chris's car. How our cousin stole a police horse while drunk. How mom cried making his favorite meal without thinking. Sometimes his eyes tracked movement, but when nurses came, they'd find nothing. Sometimes his fingers curled against mine, but doctors said reflexive responses meant nothing. I documented every twitch, searching for patterns everyone said weren't there. Family visits dwindled from daily to weekly to monthly. Insurance pushed for long-term care, places where patients wait for their bodies to give up. Then 3 months ago, while describing Josh's pathetic Taco Bell proposal to Maria, I felt distinct taps against my palm. Short, 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 long, 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 short, short, short. SOS in Morse code, clear as screaming. Chris, if you can hear me, squeeze once for yes or twice for no. Nothing. My heart shattered. Then 5 seconds later, one deliberate squeeze so hard my knuckles cracked. Oh God, are you there? One squeeze. Have you always been there? One squeeze. Can you understand everything? One squeeze that felt like drowning in reverse. Like watching someone surface after being underwater so long you'd already started planning their funeral. Chris started spelling something, letter by letter, through exhausting squeezes. R-I-N-G. The ring for Maria, one squeeze. The engagement ring he'd hidden in our apartment vent before his accident. Nobody knew except me because I'd helped him pick it. Sworn to secrecy. You want me to get it? One squeeze so desperate it felt like screaming. The insurance meeting was scheduled the next morning to transfer Chris to a facility for vegetative patients. I'd brought the ring he'd begged me to get, tucked in my pocket, but didn't understand why he wanted it until the insurance woman looked at my 3 notebooks of documented responses like they were crayon drawings. Grief can manifest in many ways, she said with practiced sympathy, while my parents prepared to sign papers. Chris's hand hanging limp off the bed like he was already gone. That's when he started spelling urgently, tapping against the bed frame. R-I-N-G. The ring? I asked, finally understanding. I grabbed his hand. You want it now? One squeeze. N-O-W. I pulled the dusty blue velvet box from my pocket and pressed it into Chris's palm, watching his fingers close around it as if he was holding his own beating heart. His eyes, dead for 2 years, suddenly focused on that little blue box with laser intensity. Tears ran down both our faces while the insurance woman's pen froze mid-signature. Ask him something, I begged. Anything, please. She rolled her eyes but asked what year it was. Chris squeezed out 2024. She asked him to count to 5. 5 perfect squeezes. His mother's name, S-U-S-A-N. By the time Chris had answered 10 questions correctly, she'd torn up the transfer papers and the medical team descended like sharks, suddenly fascinated by the patient they'd written off. 3 months later, Chris could sometimes move his eyes on command and occasionally squeeze other people's hands, though never as consistently as he did mine. Progress comes in millimeters. Not long after the insurance meeting, I asked why he fought so hard to tell me about the ring first. It took 30 minutes to squeeze out the answer. You were the only one still talking to me like I was real. Then he added something that knocked the wind out of me. Heard mom call me the body. I held his hand while he spelled out more. Heard dad say donate my organs. Another pause. Heard them all give up except you. The doctors call his recovery miraculous, but Chris squeezed out the truth about miracles. Not magic, just someone too stubborn to let go. My brother's been in a coma for 2 years, and last month he finally told me what kept him fighting when he could have let go. You kept saying see you tomorrow.